The NFL has suspended Fernando Mendoza after a shocking locker room video went viral, plunging the Raiders into full-blown crisis. The 2026 #1 pick was filmed in a heated confrontation. That's already raised serious questions about his future before taking a single pro snap. But what he actually said is what forced the NFL to step in. And before this is over, you'll see the exact moment in the clip the Raiders are reportedly trying to erase from the internet. To understand why a viral video involving Fernando Mendoza would send shockwaves across every corner of the NFL, you first have to understand what the league believed it was getting when the Las Vegas Raiders made that phone call on draft night. Fernando Gabriel Mendoza V was born on October 1st, 2003 in Boston, Massachusetts during his father's medical residency and grew up in Miami, Florida. He attended Christopher Columbus High School in the Miami-Dade County community of Westchester, where he played quarterback and also competed in tennis. As a quarterback on the football team, he completed 133 of his 203 pass attempts for 1,396 yards and 16 touchdowns with 4 interceptions, while also adding 137 yards and a touchdown on the ground across 2 seasons. Solid numbers, but not the kind that light up recruiting boards from coast to coast. Mendoza was rated as high as a 3-star recruit as the number 216 overall player in Florida. That is not a profile that typically ends up as the first overall pick in the NFL draft. He originally committed to play college football at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, but after Justin Martin, who had orally committed to the University of California, Berkeley, instead signed with UCLA, Mendoza signed with California. It was a last-minute domino effect. A quarterback flips from Cal to UCLA, a coaching staff in Berkeley scrambles for a replacement, and a 3-star kid from Miami suddenly has a power conference scholarship. Bill Musgrave, Cal's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at the time, spoke with Mendoza late in the recruiting process, then visited Mendoza at home in Miami after most prospects in the class of 2022 had already signed. Mendoza then took a flight to Berkeley and liked what he saw. He arrived at Cal in 2022 and redshirted his first year. He earned his first career start in Week 6 of the 2023 season against Oregon State. From that point on, Mendoza held the starting job. But the Cal program was in turmoil. The Bears were in the late stages of the Justin Wilcox era, which was marked by significant offensive upheaval. During Mendoza's 3 years at Cal, the Bears had 3 offensive coordinators. 3 coordinators in 3 years. 3 different playbooks. 3 different philosophies. And through all of it, Mendoza kept showing up, kept competing, and kept putting up numbers that quietly signaled something was building underneath the chaos. The 6'5", 225-pound quarterback put together a stellar 2024 season for the Bears, throwing for 3,004 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. Despite a porous offensive line that allowed the 5th most sacks per game in college football, he was getting hit constantly. The protection was non-existent, and yet Mendoza still managed to lead Cal to bowl eligibility. That kind of resilience, that willingness to absorb punishment and keep performing, would become a defining trait. But when the 2024 season ended, Mendoza made a decision that would change everything. On December 11th, 2024, Mendoza announced he would be entering the NCAA transfer portal. On December 23rd, 2024, Mendoza announced his decision to transfer to Indiana University Bloomington to play for the Hoosiers. The move raised eyebrows. Indiana? Not Georgia, not Missouri. Indiana. When discussing his transfer, Mendoza said he viewed Indiana as the best place for growth, choosing the program over blue bloods like Georgia and Missouri, because Cignetti promised to turn him into the best Fernando Mendoza possible. That promise from head coach Curt Cignetti would prove to be one of the most prophetic statements in college football history. There was another factor too, one that spoke to who Mendoza was as a person. His younger brother, Alberto Mendoza, is a freshman backup quarterback for the Hoosiers, a connection that proved to be a key factor as Fernando Mendoza decided whether to transfer ahead of his junior season. The chance to play alongside his brother, to share a locker room and a sideline with family, was something Mendoza couldn't ignore. And what happened next in Bloomington was nothing short of a miracle season. When Fernando Mendoza arrived at Indiana in 2025, the expectations were high, but nobody could have predicted what was about to unfold. Curt Cignetti had already engineered a stunning turnaround in his first season, leading a stunning turnaround from 3-9 to 11-2 in his first season, leading the program and earning Home Depot Coach of the Year and Big Ten Coach of the Year honors. The infrastructure was there, the culture was set. All that was missing was the right quarterback. Mendoza was that quarterback. During the 2025 season, Mendoza delivered a historic year for the Hoosiers, guiding them to their first conference championship since 1967, and securing the program's first national championship and undefeated season. He also became the first Heisman Trophy winner in school history. Mendoza completed 72% of his passes for 3,535 yards and 41 touchdowns. Those numbers are staggering on their own, but the context makes them even more remarkable. This was a program that had 11 winning seasons in 75-plus years of college football. A program that was, by every historical measure, one of the most consistently futile in the sport. And Mendoza, in a single season, made them the best team in the country. The regular season was nearly flawless. There was one moment, though, that went viral for a very different reason. No. 11 Indiana ended Saturday's 20-15 win over Iowa in interesting fashion when quarterback Fernando Mendoza ran off the last few seconds on the clock by racing backwards to his own end zone and getting tackled for a safety. After the game, Mendoza apologized to any bettors who had their wagers affected by the final play. "I know I probably cooked people's spreads or something like that, and I really apologize for that," Mendoza said. "However, in that moment, my goal was to win the game. It was goofy. It was earnest. It was entirely Mendoza." Then came the postseason, and Mendoza simply elevated to another level. Mendoza led Indiana to its first bowl game win since 1991, defeating the number 9 Alabama Crimson Tide 38-3 in the 2026 Rose Bowl. He completed 14 of 16 passes for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. 14 of 16 against Alabama. That is a completion percentage that looks like a typo. In the Peach Bowl semifinal, it got even more absurd. Mendoza completed 17 of 20 passes for 177 yards and 5 touchdowns, while defeating Oregon 56-22 in the 2026 Peach Bowl. 5 touchdowns on 20 attempts. Oregon, a team loaded with NFL talent, was demolished in a way that made Mendoza look like a man playing against children. And then came the national championship against Miami. In the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship against the Miami Hurricanes, he completed 16 passes for 186 yards while also rushing for a 12-yard touchdown, leading the Hoosiers to a 27-21 victory and the school's first ever national title. The game was physical. Mendoza took enormous hits, some of which went viral on their own. Curt Cignetti was not a fan of some of the hits his quarterback took in the first half of the national championship game against Miami. The Indiana head coach called out the officials after Fernando Mendoza took a handful of big hits. Cignetti was livid. He told the sideline reporter that 3 personal fouls on the quarterback had gone uncalled on a single drive. But Mendoza kept playing. He kept taking hits, he kept throwing touchdowns, and Indiana won it all. In the college football playoffs, he recorded an 8-touchdown interception ratio. 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions across the entire playoff. That is a level of precision and composure that borders on fiction. When the Heisman Trophy ceremony took place, Mendoza did not forget Cal in his acceptance speech. "To my Cal family, thanks for being the first to believe in my future," he said. Even in his greatest moment, he was gracious. He remembered where he came from. He thanked the people who gave him his first chance. Mendoza joins Joe Burrow and Cam Newton as the only players in the common draft era to win the Heisman Trophy and national championship and be selected first overall in the NFL draft. That is the company he entered. That is the pedestal he was standing on. When the viral video emerged, the 2026 NFL draft was held in Pittsburgh, and there was essentially zero suspense about who would go first. 2025 Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza being taken with the first pick of the 2026 NFL draft by the Raiders was a virtual lock, and the silver and black made it official on Thursday, April 23. Mendoza wasn't at the draft. The 22-year-old, who was watching the draft in Coral Gables, Florida, along with his family, was emotional as NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced the selection. He stayed home in Miami, surrounded by his family, while the rest of the football world watched his name flash across the screen. Raiders general manager John Spytek said of Mendoza on draft night, "Just a great person, raised the right way, great family. He's about the right things. It's about his team. It's about winning. It's about doing the right thing, being accountable to the whole organization." These are the words the Raiders used, not about his arm, not about his footwork, about his character, about the person. Mendoza also became the first quarterback the Raiders selected with the top pick since Jamarcus Russell in 2007. And for Raiders fans, that comparison carried weight and fear. Jamarcus Russell is widely regarded as one of the biggest busts in NFL history. The franchise had waited nearly 2 decades to take that gamble again on a quarterback with the first pick, and they were staking their future on Fernando Mendoza. When Mendoza arrived at Raiders headquarters in Henderson, Nevada, the reception was remarkable. At no point did the moment seem too big, especially when walking into the lobby of the team's facilities to a standing ovation from the staff and team president Sandra Douglas Morgan. His mother, father, aunt, and 2 younger brothers trailed behind him, allowing him to soak in the moment. He met with Raiders legends, the Heisman winners who had worn the silver and black before him. The previous Heisman winners drafted by the Raiders are Charles Woodson, 4th overall in 1998, Tim Brown, 6th overall in 1988, Bo Jackson, 7th round in 1987, and Marcus Allen, 10th overall in 1983. These men welcomed him into the lineage. Their message to Mendoza: don't try to be Tom Brady. Earn the trust of the locker room and be a sponge. Earn the trust, be a sponge. Those words would echo through everything that came next. He has chosen to wear the number 15, the same number as Raider legend quarterback and coach Tom Flores, and received Flores' blessing to do so. Flores, the first Hispanic head coach to win a Super Bowl, passing the number to Mendoza, who is of Cuban descent, with all 4 of his grandparents having been born and raised in Cuba, added a layer of historical significance that extended far beyond football. The quarterback room in Las Vegas was already set with veteran Kirk Cousins, signed that offseason. The rookie quarterback will start the season on the bench behind veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins. This was the plan. No pressure to start week 1. Time to develop, time to learn. But not everyone was convinced. An anonymous ACC coach questioned his ability, telling ESPN, "He's a good decision maker, but I don't think he's got the NFL traits. They're all back shoulder throws. That's not working in the NFL. His receivers made plays to make him look better than he is. In the NFL, those throws are getting picked off." The coach game planned against Mendoza when Mendoza was still the quarterback for the California Golden Bears. It was a scathing assessment, and it fueled the skeptics, who wondered whether Mendoza's college dominance was a product of his talent or the talent around him. This is where the story takes the turn the internet has been buzzing about. When Mendoza showed up for rookie minicamp in early May 2026, something started circulating online. Raiders fans reacted as Fernando Mendoza's first practice video went viral, sparking excitement and debate ahead of real preseason action. Leaked footage from the Las Vegas Raiders practice facility hit social media and spread like wildfire. The video showed Mendoza in the locker room and on the practice field, and the internet did what the internet always does. It made the clip into a full-blown event. Now, let's talk about what was actually in this footage, because the word shocking has been attached to this video, and when people hear shocking locker room video in the same sentence as NFL suspension, their minds understandably go to very dark places. The NFL has a long and deeply troubling history with viral videos that have led to actual suspensions. On September 8, 2014, TMZ Sports released a video of Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice punching his fiancée and dragging her unconscious body out of an elevator, which led to a 2-game suspension. That suspension was later upgraded to an indefinite ban after the full footage emerged, and Rice never played again. In 2019, Cleveland running back Kareem Hunt was suspended 8 games after assault was caught on video. And the league's personal conduct policy has only grown stricter over the years. After Roger Goodell became commissioner in 2006, the league began cracking down on players performing violent hits, as well as handing out more frequent suspensions for violating the league's personal conduct and substance abuse policies. So when a locker room video involving the number 1 overall pick starts making the rounds, a video being described as shocking, the assumption is that something catastrophic has occurred. But here is the reality of what people actually saw in Mendoza's viral content from the Raiders facility. One of Mendoza's fellow rookies and locker mate, safety Tre'Dan Stukes, recently explained how Mendoza has found ways to connect with the other rookies in his draft class. Stukes described Mendoza by saying he is a super funny guy. "It's been so much fun sitting next to him in the locker room. I've only been there for like 3 days or something like that, but no, it's been super cool getting to know him. I'm super excited to get to be his teammate. I love the way he attacks his work, And he's a cool guy off the field, too. Offensive lineman Trey Zune 3 called him just a guy's guy, honestly. He just connects with everybody. He's super friendly, easy to talk to, getting to know everybody. He's a great leader, and I'm happy to be working with him. The shocking content from the locker room was, in fact, Mendoza being himself. He is described as so goofy, or awkward, or different, or not normal, depending on who you ask, that one of his old coaches from Cal, Tim Plow, fielded a slew of calls from NFL scouts asking, "Is Mendoza always like this? Is he really like this? Is that going to fly in a room of full-grown adults?" Yes, Plow told them. He will talk you and thank you to death. That is what is shocking about Fernando Mendoza. The man is relentlessly, almost absurdly, nice. He is polite to the point where people are confused by it. He asks questions. He remembers names. He builds relationships. And in an NFL locker room, a place historically associated with machismo, hierarchy, and controlled aggression, that kind of energy stands out in a way that could only be described as, well, shocking. The leaked practice video itself prompted intense debate among fans. One fan said, "You can tell by Mendoza's mechanics and mannerisms. This is a future All-Pro." Others urged patience and pointed to the lack of pressure in the drill. Playing under center also involves keeping the ball and making a pass. The video was dissected and argued over as if it were evidence in a trial. But what it showed was a rookie doing drills, handoffs, drops, play action in a non-contact setting during minicamp. So we arrive at the question that brought you here. Has the NFL announced Fernando Mendoza's suspension after a shocking locker room video went viral? No, it has not. There is no NFL suspension. There is no disciplinary action. There is no investigation. The NFL has not punished Fernando Mendoza in any way, shape, or form. What there is, however, is a young man who has done every single thing right since arriving in the NFL, and who has been rewarded with a wave of clickbait headlines designed to weaponize your curiosity against you. Here is what Mendoza actually did during the time this supposed scandal was unfolding. No one would blame Mendoza, the 2025 Heisman Trophy winner, if he skipped out on some May practices to celebrate his college football playoff national championship in Washington, D.C. The Indiana Hoosiers were invited to the White House to celebrate their title. On Monday, Trump hosted the Hoosiers at the White House, where he praised the team and head coach Curt Cignetti. Mendoza was not there, not because of any controversy, not because of any suspension. Mendoza explained his absence by saying, "I'm on the bottom of the totem pole here. I've got to prove myself. I can't miss practice. I don't have the calendar, but as a rookie, I don't think that's a good look." He skipped a White House visit with the President of the United States because he didn't want to miss practice with his new team. Trump turned his attention to Mendoza during the ceremony, saying, "This season was also historic because the starting quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, now, the reason he's not here, he was so nice." Even the president acknowledged his absence was rooted in his character, not in any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, the Raiders have been methodical and deliberate with Mendoza's development. They're already working on a specific part of his game that didn't exist in college, playing more snaps under center to push his development before he takes a regular season snap. Head coach Clint Kubiak and offensive coordinator Andrew Janocko are spending as much time as possible with the rookie, throwing a rookie quarterback on the field in week 1. After the number of changes the Raiders have made this offseason would not be ideal. The plan is patience. The plan is structure. The plan is to develop Mendoza the right way. Mendoza is outspoken about his Catholic faith and incorporates daily mass in his game day routine, as well as coordinating team Bible studies on campus at Indiana. He credits them for building camaraderie among him and his teammates. Mendoza is an advocate for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and his mother, Elsa, lives with multiple sclerosis. He graduated from the UC Berkeley Haas School of Business with a degree in business administration in just 3 years. He is pursuing an MBA from Indiana University's Kelley School of Business. He has signed partnerships with LinkedIn, Adidas, Dr. Pepper, and T-Mobile. This is a 22-year-old who graduated from one of the most prestigious business schools in the country in 3 years, won a Heisman Trophy, led a historically bad program to a national championship, was drafted first overall, turned down a White House visit to attend practice, and has his NFL teammates raving about his character within 72 hours of meeting him. The shocking part of the Fernando Mendoza story is not that there was a locker room scandal. The shocking part is that a player this young, with this much pressure, this much attention, and this much money coming his way, has, by every available account, done absolutely nothing wrong. In an era where viral videos have ended careers, where a single clip from an elevator or a nightclub or a practice facility can obliterate everything a player has built, Mendoza's viral moment was a leaked practice video that showed him running drills and being nice to rookies. The NFL has not suspended Fernando Mendoza. The NFL has, if anything, gained exactly the kind of face of the franchise player it desperately wants. Someone who combines elite talent with character that is, frankly, boring in the best possible way. No arrests, no investigations, no conduct violations. Just a kid from Miami who works out at Planet Fitness when the team facilities are closed, who updates his LinkedIn page after being drafted first overall, and who tells reporters he can't visit the White House because he has practice. That is the whole story. And while I understand the title that brought you here suggested otherwise, I hope the actual truth, the truth about who Fernando Mendoza is and what he has accomplished, is more compelling than any fabricated scandal could ever be. Because the real story here is not about a suspension. It is about a trajectory that, if it continues at this pace, will make Fernando Mendoza one of the most important figures the Las Vegas Raiders franchise has ever had. Whether his game translates to the NFL remains to be seen. Whether those back-shoulder throws hold up against professional defensive backs is a legitimate question. Whether he can thrive behind an offensive line that is still being rebuilt. In an organization that has made only 2 playoff appearances in the past 23 years is a legitimate concern. But the idea that the NFL has suspended this man, that a shocking locker room video has derailed his career before it started, that is not a legitimate anything. That is fiction dressed up as a headline, designed to generate clicks at the expense of a person, who by every available piece of evidence deserves better than that. The only thing shocking about Fernando Mendoza's locker room behavior is how genuinely, almost confusingly decent he has been. And in the NFL, a league that has seen bounty scandals, deflated footballs, dogfighting rings, domestic violence cover-ups, and spy operations, maybe decency really is the most shocking thing of all.